Hello and welcome to Gin with Gwynne. I'm Oliver Gwynne, and this is where I give you my off-the-cuff, unrehearsed thoughts about marketing data and philosophy. This week, I'm talking about Pokemon, advertising, and intent data. Now, listen, audience, I know it and you know it. You're here to listen to me talk about Pokemon. I know that, but just stay for the intent data anyway. Maybe it'll be interesting. Okay? Okay. So sometimes when I'm online, and I'm being advertised to, and I'm one of these odd people because, marketing background, I'm interested in what I'm being advertised to. I'm interested in the algorithm. I want to see what they think I'm suitable to sell to. But sometimes I get a very disjointed experience. I get advertised to things that are completely irrelevant to me and don't seem to match any of my search history or anything that I would be saying, with Alexa listening or anything like that. And sometimes I'm just like, oh, is it just because I'm getting advertisements based on my neighbors or something like that, where I can't quite figure out why do they think this is the thing for me? And that's probably true of most of the things that are advertising to me most of the time. I get this very disjointed feeling. But recently I had an experience where suddenly my advertising was very aligned and nice and everything was relevant and it was kind of personal to what I was interested in. And it was because I was buying Pokemon cards. So my god kid recently got into Pokemon and he wanted to play with me. We play on Zoom, we play online. And I was like, cool, I know Pokemon, I know how to play that game. I remember that. I'll go and buy some packs. He wanted to send me some packs, by the way, and I was like, you're not sending me some crap packs so I can easily lose, kid. I'm going to go get some good cards and beat you. So I went and, I'm trying to find basically the most amount of Pokemon cards that I can get for the least amount of money, because I suspect this is going to be a passing phase between my god kid, but it's a nice thing that we can do to bond. Here's my rant about Pokemon. So I went out and I bought some Pokemon cards, and I didn't know any of the Pokemon anymore. I felt so old. I felt like, oh, I'm so out of touch with Pokemon, this thing that I remember from my childhood, and now I don't know any of them anymore. There's one Pokemon called Klefki. It's just a pair of keys. It's just like a floating set of keys. Like, can you imagine you playing the game Pokemon? Oh no, I'm being attacked by some keys. It's like one of the worst design things I've ever seen in my life. There's another one. I can't even remember its name, but it's like a night dog wolf thing, and it has a sword in its mouth. I'm like, how is that dog wolf thing going to use the sword that's in its mouth? That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't stand up and use the sword. It holds it in its mouth. I'm like, that's just impractical. I'm going to be like, aha, aha. Don't make any sense. I feel like Pokemon designs have gone downhill. That's what I'm saying. I feel like the Pokemon designers, they're getting paid money. They're lazy. I mean, yeah, when I was a kid, you had like Ghastly, Voltorb, Eggshells. They're all just basically round circles with eyes on it. But still, some of the recent Pokemon are pretty crap. But I was buying Pokemon cards, and suddenly I get a suite of advertisers that are very aligned to what I was looking for, what I was researching, what I was buying. A number of different brands, all selling similar or different things. And I just felt like, wow, that's really interesting. I have, obviously, as a consumer, I've gone over some sort of barrier of intent. They're like, yes, Oliver's definitely interested in Pokemon. They've got my data about age and stuff, and they can see that I'm not like a kid who's interested in Pokemon. So they were largely advertising more expensive things to me. And once I got down that, there's a very nicely defined route funnel advertisers there for me. And I imagine if I was searching for a car, or if I was on any of these kinds of things where it's nicely defined for you, that the personalization and experience as someone being advertised to is a lot better because of that. And it made me reflect on my normal advertising experience must be because, I'm more sporadic as a person. I'm researching and doing things for clients, and I'm looking at my phone and I'm downloading and trying things all the time, and so I don't normally have that strong intent data around there. Well, maybe last year or the year before, intent data was a big thing. Everyone was trying to sell you intent data, and I was very vocal in saying that I think it was a lot of bullshit. Intent data is very, very difficult because my purchasing patterns, the way that I buy, will be quite different from somebody else. And although you can sort of group and aggregate those things, I think that buying patterns are not so easy to define. I don't really feel that somebody puts themselves into a box so easily. I might have spent 3 months looking for Pokemon cards if my budget for Pokemon was lower. I might want to spend more time making sure I got the perfect thing. Maybe I'd spend a few months if I was specifically only going to buy for my god kid and their birthday was a few months away, as opposed to buying for myself so I could play with them. So I needed something quicker. All of these different things that there's no way in hell you can know as an advertiser, and nobody can ever know unless they've got the entire stream of internet data, and in which case they will always see something that's sort of schizophrenic and random and over the course of months makes absolutely no sense. And there's no way, I don't believe, unless you have a supercomputer and all the time in the world and all the search history in the world, and nobody ever uses a different browser or goes on a different device or uses ad blocker, there's no way that you can refine that. And let's hope it's always the case, because I as someone who helps people with their advertising from a data point of view, fuzziness is the enemy. But as somebody who is advertisers too, I don't want it to be so direct where they're like, hey, Oliver, you bought nachos last week. Here's a deal for some salsa. That would be scary. And we're already getting cases of that now. And so, yeah, I was very vocally against all these people selling intent data. It was a flash in the pan thing because I knew that people were promising things that they could not really deliver. But third-party tools, you're paying them a lot of money to advertise on there, and they are claiming that their algorithms are good. And so I was thinking, from a third-party tool point of view, how do you sell intent data and it would actually be accurate? And the conclusion I came to was thinking about stuff that I look at for work. So the other day I was looking at online billboards for one of our clients, and by coincidence somebody was advertising on Facebook. It was something I was less familiar with. I clicked on it, and then afterwards I got I'm on that funnel. I get all these other advertisers advertising to me about digital advertising and all this kind of stuff, but I wasn't really interested in that because I'm not the one buying it. I was just doing a little bit of research. It just happened to catch me at the right time. 99 times out of 100, I would not have clicked on that ad. And I didn't click on any of the other ads that were served to me. So it was basically a waste of sort of advertising space, I guess, at the end of the day. So for a third-party tool, good intent sign would be looking at category-led information. Now, the second blog I did in the Gin for Gwynne series was called Category Trumps Products, and it was all about how category data is a good way of understanding customers. So I'll link that below. But this is the same sort of thing, because if you are a third-party tool, and I, as Oliver, if I click on one thing and then I don't click on anything else, you could probably assume, okay, there's a little bit of intent there, but it's not so much that I should then send my other advertisers and they waste money and then they potentially don't spend with me because the result wasn't there. I shouldn't take it that one ad click means that he's entered into this category. Instead, what they should do is go, oh, Oliver's clicked on X ads in this category over time, and therefore there's a real intent there. Or I can see that he went on the site, not only did he spend more than a minute looking it up, he actually filled in a form, or he converted in some way, which would be a lot stronger intent. Because as advertisers, you keep putting the money up and people keep deciding, you know what, I'm just not going to spend that money. I can do other things with it. The rise of PPC is like 25% over the last 5 years. It's gone crazy for really niche keywords, and people will just say, you know what, I don't want to play this game. There's only 4 channels. I'll use content. I can spend loads of money on that and get quite a lot of results versus advertising. So in terms of intent data, what you should always look for is category-led information and multiple signs of category interest instead of just one-offs, which is often the case, which leads to this sort of sporadic viewpoint on what people are interested in. Now, I couldn't end the video without mentioning which is my favorite Pokemon. My favorite Pokemon as a kid was always Eevee, because I always thought Eevee was very, very cute. And interestingly, as an adult, I have my own Eevee at home because Coco, my little rabbit, looks quite like an Eevee here. So lots of people message me after I post these things, but they don't comment. So comment, tell me what's your favorite Pokemon. And I hope you found this blog about intent data useful and interesting. Thanks for watching, and tune in next week for some more Gin with Gwynne.